Hey everyone, hope you're having a great week. Just wanted to touch base with you, coming at you in my office. So as we are embarking on 2020, you got to get in there and get the grind done. But this past week, I want to tell you a story. I was sitting there, we were going to a friend's house for a gathering, and my wife and my youngest daughter were in the car, and we're having conversations, and my daughter asked me, do you got any stories from your childhood? And I remember, I was like, well, yeah, I got all kinds of stories. So I started relaying some of those stories, and some of those stories were actually pretty bad stories, and what I consider pinnacle moments that have affect you in your life, and sometimes can help develop you, good or bad. But after that conversation and after that evening, it got me thinking about Jeremiah 1:5, which says this. It says, "Before you were formed in your mother's womb, God approved of you and called you prophet." It made me think that before I was even in my mother's womb, the plans and purposes in my life were already instilled in me. So no matter what you or I, as we walk on this planet, all the abilities and talents that we acquire are supposed to support that purpose that God ordained for us to walk out. And I realized as I was sharing those stories with my family that day, that some of those situations almost were like to get me to sidetrack. And what I mean by sidetrack is to sidetrack that plan and purpose that God has planned for me to fulfill. And it got me thinking, I was like, no matter who you are, the enemy's always trying to get you or I or anyone off of that plan and purpose, because he knows that we're walking with that ordained purpose in each and every one of us. It's so exciting to know that even if you look at Ephesians 1:3, talks about the spiritual blessings, they have been given to us. Those aren't something that we need to be sought out per se. Those are things that are to be discovered and enjoyed while we're walking, fulfilling that ordained purpose that God created in us before we even took our first breath on this planet. So as we're walking through this week, I want you to think about, as we're taking on your vision, taking more territory, that you're really thinking about, I have already been ordained and approved before I even took my first breath on this planet. When you have that as a foundation, no matter what circumstances that came towards you, you've participated with, got involved with, affected you, if you go back to that one statement and make that a foundation going, God has approved me and he knows that I am capable of fulfilling that purpose. That's why he gave it to you and gave it to me. So as the whole body starts to step in that divine purpose that we're walking with, that's when the whole body of the whole church is actually going to be able to rise up. And just like when Jesus said that he's waiting for us to make the enemy his footstool. Well, for us to make the enemy his footstool, then we need to fulfill those ordained purposes and plans. So then it sets the stage for our King to return. And the joy of it is that he knows that we are more than capable. Now we just have to continue to remind us that we're capable. So think about that. Grab onto that scripture, Jeremiah 1:5, and truly take ownership of that statement. And remember, if you're not putting pressure on the word, then who is? You guys be blessed. I look forward to seeing you guys soon.